So after living in our RV for 2 years, we are finally ready to do an RV remodel. First step, getting supplies.
Your destination is on the right.
Okay, so on our first trip to Home Depot, we picked up these cards for the colors. I did not know that there are so many different kinds of shades of white. In fact, we picked up like 38 different cards. So one of the things we want to do with this RV renovation, we want to brighten up the space. So our idea is to paint the walls some shade of white. We'll leave the cabinets as they are. We don't mind the color. I think actually it's quite a nice color. But we want to match the color to the ceiling because the ceiling is a little bit off-white shade. So we thought it would be better if we match the wall color to the ceiling color so that it doesn't appear that there are two different colors. So we tried to match them to the ceiling as best as we could. And then we narrowed it down to 3 options. And today we're going to go to the store and pick up actual color samples for 2 of the closest matching ones. While we were in the city, we also looked at office chair and blind options.
We headed into Boise and we started doing some shopping for blinds. Now, we want to replace all of these brown valancers, the blinds and everything. They don't really block much of the light. Yeah. They're not great, so we end up using Reflectix anyway.
Is this the most offensive part of this decor of the RV?
To me it is. Like, I know a lot of people quite like the hunting cabin brown feel in here. And honestly, we quite like the wood. Yeah. The brown wood does make it feel very warm and homely. Just these blinds with the kind of pleather surrounds and things, they've got to go. So we went looking at blinds. The first place we stopped into...
and to give some background, I have never decorated any of my places and I never like painted or have done any remodel. We did very, very tiny bit in the rental place that we lived before, but like super tiny.
Whereas I'm the opposite. I get itchy. I'm like, I need to like do things and make things and decorate things. Yeah. In fact, a house I lived in a few years ago, I just emailed the landlord. I was like, can I redecorate the bedroom? And he's like, yeah, but I don't really want to pay for it. I was like, no, that's fine. I need to do something. So I redecorated the bedroom.
But none of us really had the concept of how blinds work in the United States, at least, of like what stores do you get them, what brands do you get them, what are like kind of quality to price ratios. Yeah. So I looked up blind stores in Boise and we went to a couple
and to be clear, we understand physically how blinds work. Yes. It's just more the like
the process of acquiring
to buy them. So one of our plans had been IKEA. IKEA has a pretty good range of blinds. They would work pretty well in here. Unfortunately, at the moment, our nearest IKEA is 350 miles away. And has been closed and maybe is still closed at the moment.
Yeah.
So IKEA, unfortunately, is out for us right now.
Plus, IKEA would not be able to do the big window.
That's true. So anyway, we went shopping for blinds. The first place we went to, it was a mess, wasn't it? Let's be honest. We went in and I just instantly felt this is not the place we should be. But we just had to kind of run with it. And there was some like, they were going to get their like designer to call us, or they were going to call the designer. We had to call the designer.
Yeah, so that she can send the quotas.
It was just super confusing, and all we wanted to know was like how much their blinds cost and what the delivery times were, and those kind of basic questions. It didn't go down very well. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to assume that the staff that's normally there were out because of COVID-19 or something. Yeah. Who knows? We went to the next place, another blind gallery store shop thing. That was really good.
Yeah,
they're
very
like
helpful person.
Yeah, super helpful. They're a retailer or reseller, I guess, for Hunter Douglas, which I hadn't heard of, but having looked into it, seems to be a fairly reputable brand and good quality blinds. They priced up some stuff for us for all the blinds, including... So it's roller blinds, all the windows, and then the kitchen window has just like the normal metal slatted blind. That we're going to keep the same type of blind there, but just have a nicer quality one.
Because I mean the current one is so hard to clean. Like it's already like bent multiple places because I was trying to clean it and it's just so flimsy.
I'm pretty sure it's made of like tin foil or something. It's super flimsy. So we got a quote there, and the quote was like we didn't really know what to expect.
Yeah.
But it didn't seem too astronomical. I guess it was not cheap. And then after that we went to Home Depot. Just to kind of get like a baseline, like what we should be looking at.
Yep.
And that came in a little bit cheaper when we priced all that up. Similar kind of like style of blinds. We do want to motorize the blinds. And that's part of this smart RV home automation system we have in here. Unfortunately, the way it seems to work is that you pay like a fixed amount per blind. So it doesn't matter how big or small the blind is. It costs X amount to add a motor to it. And that X is quite a large amount. I think it's like $300-ish
something like that
per blind. So for our 6 windows, we'd be paying like, by the time you add the controller and these other things to it as well, you're talking like over $2,000 to put some motors in blinds.
On this kind of small blind.
I'm not spending $2,000 on motorizing the blinds. I don't want it that much. So I think we're not going to buy motorized blinds.
Yeah.
However, we are going to get the blinds with a continuous cord, the kind of the chain down the side, rather than the cordless or the pull-down ones, because that does allow me to later on do like a DIY motorized blind. So you can buy the motors individually for a lot less money than these companies want, and you can make your own kind of motorized blinds that way. But it's not a priority. It's not like I have to do that on day one. It's just it gives us the option later on to do that.
Another thing we learned that for all these blinds at the store or buying them online, the lead time is really long. It could be like 3 to 4 weeks.
I think we naively thought we could just like pick the one out and they'd get like a really big pair of scissors out and cut it down for us. Yeah. And we were wrong.
Turns out it doesn't work like that. So that's our progress so far.
So yes, it's we're learning a lot about not just like physically how to remodel, but we're trying to like break down some of the things like RV blinds versus residential blinds.
Yes. And we did look at MCD blinds, and there are some other RV blinds, but those again are also hard to source, and it takes also a really long lead time.
And honestly, like what we found is if you can use residential versions, they tend to be a lot cheaper, and they tend to give you more choice, both in terms of quality as well as like colors and textures and fabrics and places to buy from and everything else. So if we can buy residential, we're choosing to. Another one is the lights. We've been looking at replacing the dinette light, which is like a little hanging light shade thing at the moment. Choice of RV lights is really limited. There's really not very many 12-volt lights out there. But what you can do is you can use a normal residential light, and as long as you can find a 12-volt bulb to fit in the actual holder, you can modify it to run off 12 volts. So that's another thing that you'll see in the renovation we try and tackle.
Today's an exciting day because we are going to do an RV remodel after living in this trailer for 2 years. We want to brighten up the space and build an ergonomic workspace.
And we're really excited about this remodel. This is a big project for us. We are doing this while living in the trailer, which is going to make it even more exciting. Today, the focus really is on preparation. So we're going to start by removing all the things that we don't want in here while we're remodeling, and removing the old dinette. So that's going to be just a lot of carrying stuff out the door, I think. Once we've done that, we can really thoroughly clean everything. So painting an RV, it's really important all the walls are really, really clean. So we're going to go through and clean everything top to bottom. Finally, once it's all clean, we're going to try and get it all masked off, ready to start the priming tomorrow. And if all goes well tomorrow, then we'll be able to paint the day after that. But who knows? We'll have to see what happens.
Can't get this one out.
It's going to get me so many times today. I'm tempted to remove it and take it up. put the screws, put that screw plate back in so we can find it again. Otherwise it's almost impossible to see.
Do you want to zip on back?
Yes, please. Okay, do you see any more screws? So I think I can pull this one out.
Yeah.
No, I
Take
don't.
out a piece of wall. So what did you find there?
So we're trying to work out how this piece of wood is so rigid on here. It's not moving at all. And I just tried to bend it, and as I did, that lifted up. And this is held on by like some sealant or something, but there's 3 more screws holding this piece of wood to the wall. That is insane. I mean, that's just a...
Well, that's why our dinette seats were so sturdy.
This wasn't going anywhere without those coming out. But still, I mean, you can still see how strong this stuff is. Yeah, that was going to stop me going anywhere. Hold it down, would you? Okay. Light. Right, next job, remove the lights.
We have successfully managed to remove the benches and the dinette. And next up, blinds and balances.
Okay, so for these, we can work together, I think. So if you look up inside, I'll put this where this screw is. That is the first screw that we need to do. So if you look up inside, that's what we're aiming for. And I'm going to try and do it with the electric one. was cleaning out the stuff in the bathroom cabinet, I dropped something into the sink, and it turns out it fell right down the sink plug hole and is the perfect size to block that pipe. So the sink is currently blocked. I'm going to drop the P-trap and see if we can find out what I dropped, and then remove it. Lovely. It's there. I can push it all up. Can you give me something to push it up with?
Yeah. as well?
Yep. Anywhere that's not against wood.
Here.
It has been a fantastically busy day today, but we've achieved a lot. We have managed to take everything out with the dinette, so the benches and the table are gone. We've cleaned up everything on the wall, we've removed all of the blinds and balancers, and then we've removed all of the corner trim, which was pretty painful. That was a pretty slow process, but glad we've done that because you can't paint very easily over that. And then we've also been around and used TSP to clean all the walls and rinse them off afterwards. We didn't get on to filling some of the holes today, which I was really hoping we could get onto, but we haven't done that. And we also haven't yet got on to the taping and masking that we were hoping to do today. But we'll do that first thing tomorrow morning. And then fingers crossed tomorrow, we can start priming.
Thanks for watching our RV remodeling adventure. Please subscribe if you haven't yet, and stay tuned to see how painting the walls transforms our RV.